He made only one promise as it relates to the Middle East during the campaign, and that was that he makes the expansion of the Abraham Accords a priority. Now, what he means by the expansion of the Abraham Accords is a normalization deal between Saudi Arabia and Israel. There's one other area he talked about, which was Iran. And he said, had he been reelected the first time, he would have reached a deal very quickly with the Iranians on their nuclear program. I'm not sure that would have been the case, but the Iranians are saying they're prepared to talk directly to the Trump administration. They were not prepared to do that in 4 years of Biden. So these are the two areas where I think he's said something about the Middle East. What he said is still rather general. The reality that he's going to face is going to require specifics and not just generalities. There's a presumption that's made that because he's appointing people who identify very much with Israel, whether it's Steve Witkoff, who he's named as his Middle East negotiator, Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, Governor Huckabee, who will be the American ambassador to Israel, all have very strong pro-Israeli credentials. Now, will they be shaping the policy? If the policy that's pursued is one that doesn't address the Saudi needs, there won't be normalization. And that means a number of things. One, the Saudis require that there be an end to the war in Gaza, defined as Israel being out of Gaza. And number two, they require something on a Palestinian state. I can say from my own conversations with the senior Saudi leadership, what they want to be able to show is that they have produced something for Palestinians that no one has produced for them before. And there's something else to consider. It'll be very hard for Benjamin Netanyahu to say no to Trump. There was what I call a Trump effect. Prime Minister Netanyahu was very reluctant to say no to Trump. Egypt and Qatar, who were dealing with Hamas, wanted to show President Trump, look at how much we can do. And they communicated to Hamas, it's really in your interest to get this done because it'll be very difficult once this is agreed for the Israelis to resume the war once Trump is president. Everybody had an interest. He had leverage. His negotiator, Steve Witkoff, who was not formally the negotiator yet, joined the negotiations in the last week. The most interesting question will be, will that leverage still work now that Trump is president? And there are 3 phases of implementation. If Prime Minister Netanyahu carries out the second phase, Minister Smotrich has declared that he will bring the government down. So we'll see if the fear of Minister Smotrich is greater than the fear of President Trump. On the one hand, I see a very interesting potential because the Israeli military achievements, they may have come at a very high cost, particularly to Palestinians, but those military achievements have changed the balance of power in the region. I see possibilities that are hopeful and that could change the Middle East much for the better, but I only think they're possibilities, and much depends upon, can the Trump administration take advantage of the new landscape that exists? It will require deft diplomacy. It will require the use of leverage, and it remains to be seen if the Trump administration can pull it off.